little after bit of the video about some of the backlash that we got. So there is a good amount of stuff here. So over the past year, Nintendo has caught a lot of flack for its business practices. There have been a couple things. The two of them are patent related. The new one, iffy. I don't really like it. I think the wording makes it sound worse than it is. The first one was a patent or a lawsuit against Palworld, but it wasn't even over the ripped designs. It was the capture system, where they said the use of a spherical object to capture a creature is what they're trying to sue a patent over, and people were like, but the thing is, because me and Keith were talking about this a lot with our friend Mikey, because he was like, oh, this is stupid, why are you suing, blah blah blah. It is only the part of a spherical device catching a Pokemon, like a creature. There have been multiple creature capture games over the years, from Roblox games to Yokai Watch to Nexomon, Temtem. All these games still exist and got no lawsuits whatsoever because their capture system is very much different. Some games, it's like if Palworld's capture device was a cube or a triangle, I guarantee you a lawsuit wouldn't have happened. I can just about guarantee you, because they weren't going for the designs, they were going for the Pokeball capture system. And of course, unfairly priced DLC, expensive games. And like I said, some were saying like the Virtual Boy and Pokemon Friends. When Pokemon Friends came out, it was free on the Apple device, but it's $10 on the eShop for the Switch. And each DLC pack's like $15. It comes with like 20 plushies and like 5 or so more games. But it's like $30 for minimal content, which I think is crazy. But as you can see, most of it has followed industry norms. So this is a lot of stuff. So before the Switch released, and they announced that Mario Kart would be $80 physical, and $80 digital, that would mean $90 physical, but that's just not how it worked. It took a long time for people to get the memo that it wasn't that much money. But I don't think it took so long. And $80 I think is too much for a base game with no extra content. Usually it should be like $60 plus whatever. Which is why people are like, oh, $80 for Kirby, the Switch 2 version of Kirby. Yeah, it is a $60 game with a DLC pack. 60, 20, 80. That makes sense, because it's like buying a deluxe version of a game. Bundled together. And most of the people who would buy Mario Kart Deluxe would get the bundle, so that gives them the game for $50, because the regular Switch is $450, and the bundle is $500, making Mario Kart Deluxe $50. Mario Kart World. $80 is too high, but that's been the only game that has been that price as of now, and it's been back to the normal $70. All the prices have followed the industry standard, which Xbox and Sony set the precedent for. I want to say it was the PS5 was the first time, like 2K24? No, 2K23? What was the first PS5? No, 2K21. God, it's been so long. 2K21 was the first 2K on next-gen consoles. They were $70. Almost every new game was $70. $70. Nintendo's were still $60 on the Switch One. The first game to be $70 was Tears of the Kingdom, and that game is massive. Nintendo, and this is one that's because now you pay for online, and it also has by far the cheapest price, $20 a year for Nintendo Online, and $50 if you want the expansion pack version, which gives you a bunch of perks. Xbox Game Pass Core, which is their cheapest option for online play, is $60 a year. $60 a year or $9.99 a month. And Game Pass Core only gives you, I think it said around 30 of the Game Pass games. Now, granted, it's probably going to be the more popular one, but there's hundreds of games on Game Pass, so you're missing out on a ton of games. And if you want the full library plus online, it's $20 a month, which is $240 a year. And I said they may be discounts, but they still won't be as low as $40. Like, even if they discount it to like $14.99, it's still going to be over $40 a year. And PlayStation is $80 annually for their cheapest option. I think I have the one above it, like $120 annually, which is like $11. It's $10, but I do a one-time payment of $120, so I don't pay the $10 a month, or I don't pay like it's like a higher monthly. I don't know how it works, but one of the things is, I want, because I know Nintendo was always the cheaper option, especially like the Wii era. I don't know if PlayStation 3 games were retailing at 60 or 360 games, but Wii games retailed at 50. And then they came out with the Nintendo Selects, which took some of the more popular old games and made them $20. Galaxy 1 was a Select, Sluggers and Strikers Charge were Select, so I would love for them to come out with that. Nowadays, because like old Switch 1 games barely go on sale. If they do, it's not much. Like Mario, like Breath of the Wild is still gonna be $60. It doesn't really go on sale. So if they made like a Nintendo Select system, made those games like $30, for games like that, Odyssey, ARMS, Pokemon Sword and Shield, things like that, I think it'd be fantastic. But like I said, Nintendo's only following the curve of the gaming industry. No one paid for online. Xbox was the only one. PlayStation saw it. Bam, they started paying for online. Nintendo saw it. Now they started. Sony and Microsoft make $70 games. Nintendo saw it, so they're gonna do it. You can't really, as a business, you can't blame them. It's sucky. It's crappy. I know. I say the same thing about like the sports games. I only buy, now I'm working on it. I'm getting better. I only buy 2 annual sports games: college football and baseball. Because baseball, all the other games that really want you to spend money, baseball, they don't really incentivize you to do it at all. NBA 2K, great example. You start as a 60 overall, a bum with no cool clothes or anything. They want you to pre-order the big boy edition. They want you to pull out your wallet and just spend all your money. And guess what? You spend all that money for a yearly game. And guess what? Oops, my build sucks. Here's the new meta build that came out that's better than mine. Now I gotta start a new character and put money into him again. Oh, I want to make a center. I need a big man. You know, I have a guard. My other players got a couple guards. So we all don't want to be all guards. We need a big man. I'll make a big man build. Bam! More money you're putting into it. So, no practices are worse than that. No, Nintendo doesn't do anything like that. But now it just seems that Nintendo's getting the flack for it. It just doesn't really make sense to me. And here's the thing I was thinking about as well. And they're paying people like, oh my god, the bundle for Mario Galaxy and Galaxy 2 is $70. First off, that's two games for $70. People are like, oh, I wish it would be like 30 or 20, like $20 or $30. So I thought about this. Like I said earlier, Nintendo games retailed at $50 when they came out for the Wii in 2007 and 2010. Accounting for inflation, those are $80, $77 and $74. 2 games retailed for $50 15 years ago, which is $100 if you get both. Now it's $70 for both, for better resolution and more content. I don't know why people are so up in arms about that, personally. $70 for a bundle of 2 of the best 3D platformers ever in 4K resolution or 1080 handheld? Because remember, it's 4K 60 at home, maybe 1440 60, and 1080 120. You can take Galaxy 1 and 2 with you wherever you want and play them at a super high frame rate, and you get both of those incredible games plus more content in that high resolution for $70. Following the gaming industry yet again, I don't think that's that bad for 2 of the best platformers to come out. Now, another one that got people mad was the announcement of Mega Dimension, because they're like, this game's not even out yet, and we're already getting DLC. So, people were up in arms that they got confirmation of paid DLC before the game release, which happens all the time, usually reserved for pre-order bonus, which some can be bought after. And Nintendo has done in the past with fanfare. Smash Ultimate, before Smash Ultimate came out, so I know I can I can't really compare it too much fully, because Smash Ultimate had insane amounts of content, although only really some of it was like fun and playable. Like, sure, it's there, but that doesn't mean it's good. Like, sure, it had all these characters, fantastic, and all the music, great. Trophies were gone. I don't know if we had a home run contest or anything at launch. The story mode, was abysmal. It was horrible. I played through the light world just doing spirit battles. It was like 2 or 3 bosses. And like, oh, you beat the light world. Time to go to the dark world. I said, hell no. I'm not playing this. This sucked. This was a drag to get through. The spirits, the trophy system was great. It was fun finding all the trophies, major collectathon, insane replayability. The spirits, lame. Spirits were boring. And then Smash 4 had the custom moves. I thought custom moves were cool. Spirits kind of replaced the custom moves. It sucked. I'm sorry. Spirits weren't fun, but before the Smash game even came out, they announced the Fighter Pass. They said new content will be coming after launch. And this is I know I pulled some snippets from a forum that was asking about this, because this sparked another thing about, is it weird but any game with a season pass announces it before the launch. If you pre-order Blackout 7, you get Black Cell, which is the paid battle pass. Borderlands said, hey, here's DLC we're doing. I don't really think, because I know one of the comments addresses it perfectly. We'll just talk about it in a minute. So there was a couple comments I found from this forum. It says, announcing the DLC pre-release at least tells you what you have to expect and how much money you'll spend. The DLC will come either way, so you might as well just tell me right away. They respond to it like, what do you guys feel about DLC being announced post-launch? This was the comment I really liked. I'm the same way. I don't really have a preference. It's nice when the game is upfront about planned post-launch support. It'll be a nice surprise. They were talking about the Donkey Kong, because people were talking about, because the thing is, I think someone mentions it now, and we're pulling especially, we better, and then Keith has talked about this as well. Now, rather than the old Pokemon style, because what you would do is, I don't know, in Sword and Shield, they shifted to DLC. I would rather have post-launch DLC than a third game. You know, we had Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, Gold, Silver, Crystal, Black, White, Black 2, White 2, Diamond, Pearl, Platinum. I would rather get $25 to $30 to $40 DLC rather than, especially now with the modern gaming industry. Can you imagine if we got Sword Shield, and I'll just make the joke, Gun, and Sword Shield's another $60 game, but it's going through the Galar region again with minimal change? Kind of like all the other third games are. Much rather prefer DLC rather than having to buy a third game. Now this was one, for me, neither. The effort to make DLC just go towards a new game, that's something that I don't like that. What's the one? This is the other one that I was about to refer to. Functionally doesn't make a difference, but it feels and looks bad. That's the thing people are upset about, because when you announce DLC, before the game comes out, people get the feeling that you're cutting content from the main game and making us pay for it afterwards. That's kind of the gist that it gives off when you announce game DLC before. It's like, oh, especially with the way ZA looks, because they say the things will start showing up post game. So that would really make someone think like, if I buy the DLC and these rings start showing up post game, I don't know if it's true, but some people will think that you're cutting out the post game and making DLC for it. Which, if they did, it sucks. It really does. I don't think the DLC is day one. Part of it is day one, the HoloWare, so that's fine. Day one DLC is gross. Hate day one DLC. At least wait a little bit. And then on disc DLC really got me. When you bought a pack back in the day and you download it and it took literally 2 seconds to download, that's how you knew it was on there, but they gate kept it. That's nasty. So I don't know. I think it's fine to announce, here are our plans after launch, but it just gives that vibe off that they could have put that in the game already. Especially the vibe that this one gave off was like, these start showing up after you beat the game. So that makes me think it could be sort of day one DLC. It might be the week after. Another controversy I haven't talked about in here are the ways you get the XY starter Megastones. They are locked to online battle events, like ranked. And this is the thing that me and Keith talked about again. Every game that has an online functionality and ranked, you get ranked specific rewards. Siege gives you charms. Apex gave you dive trails and like player cards. This game chose to do the Mega Stimulus that way. It's sucky. I know, there's probably things they could have made. Banner, I don't think there's banners or anything, but in-game items, I don't know if that would be as important. But the thing is, in-game items in a Legends game isn't as important. It might be a bit more important than Legends Arceus, because there's actually an online battle thing for this, where held items are definitely more important, and TMs and things like that are important. But it's not like a main Pokemon game where you need held items like choice items, power items, gold bottle caps, ability patches. You don't need things like that in this game, because there are no abilities. And I don't think you need the bottle caps or anything for IVs. I don't know if this game will even have breeding. It's weird. It's kind of sucky, I know, but every game that has online has ranked rewards. It just does. Would I prefer them to be in the main game? Absolutely. I would love if these are in the main game, but they're not. It's just not as bad, I think, as people are making it out to be. I'm just not sure. I don't think it's horrible. But with that being said, that's going to be the end of the video. Let me know what you guys think about the Direct itself and the things we talked about afterwards. Do you think Nintendo games are too pricey? Do you think DLC is too much? Do you think pre-launch DLC announcements are good or bad? And yeah, with that being said, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.